Hey everybody, welcome back. I hope you had a good day yesterday. Like I said, whether you celebrate Christmas or not, I hope it was a good day. Um, I wore Sauvage Elixir yesterday for my Christmas scent. A lot of you may not consider that a Christmas scent, and it's not really, but it's got some spices in it and some, soft sweetness and some woods. So it kind of went Christmassy. I kind of consider it a scent that can be worn at Christmas as a Christmas scent. One spray, of course, and both my nieces in their early 20s really liked it, and my nan, who's almost 90, really liked it. So, yeah. Anyway, it's not about that. I just want to. Um, I talk about Christmas. So if you don't celebrate Christmas, feel free not to watch it. But this isn't about me trying to convince you what religion is right. I give a crap. Um, this is just some memory or two of Christmas. Um, what prompted it was I was at work Christmas Eve and I was talking to one of the girls that works there, and I don't know how we got onto it, but we were talking about Christmas memories and some of our favorite Christmas memories, which is always a nice conversation around this time of year. And she had a couple good ones, of course. Of course, as a child, hers revolved around a lot of toys, and as an adult, so did mine. I mean, as a child, a lot of toys and friends, and as an adult, it morphed more into time with family and friends, right? Not so much the gifts. The gifts are nice, but if I didn't get anything, it wouldn't bother me anymore. I just like going to mama's and eating and laughing and looking at the kids that are there playing with their toys and everything. It really does warm my heart, you know. Um, but you got to remember, I'm a child of the '80s. Um, and the thing with the '80s, for those of you who weren't there, I mean, you might be a think you're an expert on the '80s if you weren't there. I know the '80s. I was born in 1989. No, you've got to be born in the mid to late '70s or the very early '80s to really understand what the '80s were about as a child. Now, let's talk about decades. Everybody who's grew up in a certain decade will tell you that their decade was the best decade. They were born in the 50s, they were 50s kid, best decade, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, whatever. And they all have merit, honestly. They all got their things going for them. But as a child in the 80s, I think the 80s were they call it the decade of decadence and, power hungry, money, 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 cocaine, 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 which was true but the '80s really were the decade of the children, the child. Um, there were more television shows, cartoons, dedicated to children. More toys were sold based on a lot of them shows to children. We were the last generation to really spend most of our time outside playing, and we didn't have many. I mean, you had the odd helicopter parent, but most of them were just you get up in the morning, you didn't even tell your parents you were going. They were generally sleeping on Saturday. You get up at 6 in the morning, pour yourself a bowl of cereal and have a drink of juice and watch a couple cartoons and be out before they got up. They didn't mind. I mean, you'd be back at lunchtime, So, uh, anyway, what am I getting on to about that? Well, that's my memories revolve around a lot of stuff like that. Toys. Uh, Getting toys. And one of my biggest memories, I think I was only about 5 years old. I wasn't that old. And I'm getting up really early. I was really into He-Man at the time. He-Man was the shit, And yeah, I got up and I had a few He-Man. Thing about mom and dad, we weren't rich, but mom and dad always managed to make Christmas special. no matter how much money we had, even when we were really poor, when Dad was on strike, and I was a little older at the time, I was like 12, so I kind of knew what was up, right? We still had an incredible Christmas that year, and we had no money. Dad would go drive cab, honestly, to get money for Christmas. And there was times he'd spend 16, 17 hours in that cab just to pay bills and buy food, get money for Christmas. I mean, God love him. My dad's a superhero. Again, if you have a good dad, great. My dad's one of the best. No joke. No joke. So is my mom. Uh, yeah, so I remember getting up that morning. And this is completely unscripted, guys. I mean, all my stuff's unscripted, but usually even, yeah, here's a peek behind the curtain. I'll decide what I'm going to wear or whatever, and I generally don't do research on it, but I'll think about it for a bit. I might make little, keynotes or whatever you want to call them, just stuff I want to say so I don't forget or I say it right. But for the most part, I at least spend an hour or two during the day thinking about what I'm going to say and things like that. This is completely unscripted. Completely. This is completely off the cuff. But I woke up that morning and I was big into He-Man. I had a few He-Man. And around the same time, I was big into like Star Wars and Dungeons and Dragons toys. That'll come into play in a minute. I got up and I, opened our presents in a big box and I opened it up. Oh, it's Castle Grayskull from He-Man, the playset. I was so stoked. I remember that feeling of just being completely overwhelmed with like joy. Like, oh my God, I have Castle Grayskull. And I built it. I always built my toys myself. It's one of those things. Dad was one of them type of dads that would let him do it himself. If he needs my help, he'll ask me, and I will gladly help him. But so I built it myself. I usually did, like I said, with my toys. But and I got a few more He-Man dolls, and I'm playing along, and then a kid's imagination, right? And I go, oh, what if the Star Wars universe warped into Eternia, and had to, Darth Vader had to fight He-Man, and what if the Dungeons and Dragons magically appeared in there, and then they had to fight Skeletor and He-Man, and so I had them all together playing with them for like 3 days straight, just battles and fights and everything. It was incredible. Another one I remember is I don't know if you remember the Starcom figures. They were little figures with magnets on their feet and the vehicles, and the magnets would activate the vehicle, usually some aspect of the vehicle. They were cool too. Me and my brother got a few of them one year, and I remember playing with them for a few days after and just loving them. They never caught on. I think I was the only kid, maybe me, another one, not including my brother, who had them. But they were fun. I remember playing with my brother that year. Of course, I never really got a lot of Transformers at Christmas that I remember. Most of my Transformers came during the year. And I mean, I had a lot of them, so yeah. But that was one of my biggest memories as a child, which is Castle Grayskull and Starcom. And also a good one was when my brother got Rambo. I don't remember what I got that year. I think I was getting a little older. I was around 11, so I was kind of trying to be cool and didn't want a lot of toys, but I really wanted all the toys, if I'm remembering right. But my brother got Rambo, a bunch of Rambo toys from the Rambo cartoon with the big playset and everything. Oh, we played with that for days again. But yeah, that was some of my memories as a child. And I got a little older. I have a few more memories. Like I said earlier, my dad was on strike one year for a year and a half, and we didn't have a lot of money. And at the time, I wanted these red tab button fly 501 Levi's jeans. They were the. I mean, Levi's jeans are still popular, but they were the jean that year. You know what I mean? And I was just, my heart set them on a limit. And I knew I wasn't going to get them. I just knew I wasn't going to get them. We couldn't afford that. They were like even if you found them cheaply, they were 50 or $60. So I knew I wasn't going to get them. And I was a little down about it, but whatever. My mom gave me money a couple days before Christmas with me and my cousin, who unfortunately passed away. As I said, he suicide, drugs, and gave me money to go down and get a pair. And they had the store in the mall that was, again, this is like 1992, 93. So you got to remember, it's a different era. Kids were allowed to walk to the mall in the dark by themselves. This was like 7 o'clock a couple weeks before Christmas. So it was dark. Me and my cousin walked down the mall so excited, and she gave me enough to get a pair of them jeans and a shirt that I wanted. And it wasn't so much the getting them. It was the feeling of, oh my God, I'm getting them. Mom's giving me money to get them. Yes. And even more the walk. Now that I think about it, with my cousin being gone, he was my best friend for a few years there. The walk there with him was great. We were all excited, and he's, and we get there, and I pick my jeans and try them on, and grab my shirt and try it on, and buy them. And on the way I walk home, I had enough change left over. We got a bottle of pop each and a pack of smokes. Shh, I never told Mom. And we started the store just for 15, 20 minutes and had a smoke or two and talked. And he's telling me how lucky I am and stuff, because he wasn't rich either, right? How lucky I am. I'm going to be getting these and blah, blah. But he got a pair that year too, so that was good. Yeah, it was such a good memory. Such a good little memory. And of course, later in life, it becomes more about friends and family, girlfriends, and, really does. Most of my memories from the last 20 years don't really involve presents so much as being with my family and my friends at Christmas and my loved ones. And Mutt Face, this is probably her last Christmas, so I made it a little special. She had her own little big food of turkey and ham, and got her stocking full and with treats and toys. So she had a good Christmas too. I don't want to cry. It was making me sad thinking about that. That's your last one. Yeah. Stop being a baby, Wayne. So yeah, I know this is probably a boring video for most of you, and that's fine. I just wanted to, like I said, these let's talk about videos are going to be just random stuff for the most part. Or sometimes it's going to be mostly cologne, I'm still assuming, but or at least cologne related, fashion related, some sort. But I just want to talk about my memories of Christmas and the feeling I got. That's the thing. It's hard to describe. I mean, I can describe 100 different things I got for Christmas, but the actual feeling, if you've never had that feeling, just especially as a child, of just utter joy. And I know it's a present. You shouldn't get joy from a present. Yes, you should. You're a child. Yes, you should. And this utter, almost euphoria of just, oh my God, I can't believe I got this. And just being enamored with it and in love with it. Just that fun time, man. And you never get that back. You might have other memories, but you'll never get that 4, 5, 6-year-old child at Christmas feeling back when you got something you really wanted, and that you didn't know you were getting. And of course, Santa got all the credit. Lazy fat bastard, taking all the credit from my old man's work. But just kidding, Santa's awesome. Yeah, so if you've never had that feeling, it's hard for me to explain the feeling. I mean, feelings have got to be felt to really be understood. And if you've never had that feeling, then me explaining it probably is not going to help at all. But if you've had that feeling, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. And maybe I shot a memory for you popped in your head as you watch this. And you're like, oh yeah, I remember. And you smile and maybe brings a tear to your eye. And my God, what a time Christmas is. What a time Christmas is. But especially in the 80s, if you were a child in the 80s, everything, the food, the cartoons, the toys, everything was so dedicated to children. I mean, to the point where the government had to step in and say, oh, no, this is getting ridiculous. Like, you can't just... Because, I mean, most of the cartoons in the 80s were just a half-hour commercial for the toys. Honestly. The government had to step in and say, oh, no. You can't be advertising like that. It's got to have some kind of... So you got a lot of end of the show moral fucking kind of skits, G.I. Joe, the more you know, knowledge is power, and He-Man at the end of He-Man, when Orko done this, he realized friendship is better than anything, like, they had to, because it was getting ridiculous. It was really getting ridiculous. So yeah, those are my memories of Christmas. It passed. And and this was one of the best Christmases I've had in a while in the last few years, because we really were able to get together with a lot more friends and family this year than you were the last few. So that was great. I'll probably remember this one as time goes on as being one of the best. Not because of presents, like I said. I mean, I did really well, but I got nothing that was super memorable. I mean, but I did really well. Just that everybody was at the table this year. Like, normally the kids, a couple of teenage boys would go into their room to eat and everything because they're teenage boys. But even they sat at the table this year, because I think even they realized how special this year was after the last couple we had. And the little baby ones are babies. They were playing with their toys, and the remote control car was flying around the place and crashing into things. And it was just a great Christmas. So, yeah, that's it, guys. I know some of you won't watch this. You watch the first 5 minutes and turn it off. That's fine. But to those of you who do watch it, thank you. I'll be back tomorrow with what I wore today. What's the shelf going to pick for me? I'll figure it out. I can't see from over here without my glasses. I'm old and blind. So, yeah, guys. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, happy whatever it is you celebrate. If you celebrate anything. If not, have a great day. Peace, love, be good to each other.